Hey everybody, I'm back. So let's do another one. Let's do restaurants. So let's do a thing where we launch your restaurant in 10 minutes. I'm going to turn on my timer. My timer is set for 7 minutes, so I have some buffer time, and we're going to start. Okay, so here's the obvious question. What's V1 of a restaurant? Well, if you break down, um, there's a thing in design, user experience design called the interaction primitive. Interaction primitive is the basic unit of whatever app or software you're using, but we could apply that concept to anything. So what's the basic unit of a restaurant? Well, the basic unit is a meal and a set time box of an experience, right? So if we break down a restaurant, what is it really? It's a meal. It's one meal. It's one meal. And you could say that it's the experience of it as well. So what do I mean by that? If I say in and out, you know exactly what I mean when I say in and out is an experience. Or another example is Thomas Keller's restaurant, French Laundry. Yeah, laundry. Wow, French Laundry. Okay, all right. So we have a meal, and then we have an experience. Now watch this. If you go back to In and Out, you can have a menu of like one item essentially. You can have one item. So let's just say, what's your one item, right? Out here in LA, man, people are killing it, and just on the street, doing street food, people selling tacos. So the street food. At what point Another question: at what point is your business a restaurant versus versus a cafe, right? And we're talking about getting from 0 to 1, launching. Okay, we're talking about 0 to 1. Okay, so the idea is, let's talk about 0 to 1. Okay, when we say 0 to 1 for a restaurant, it could be you could start as a street vendor, you could start at home. There are restaurants in LA where people are serving food in their home, and people are going in their garage in the backyard and ordering food. There's a waiter, and they're making money. People like the food. If the food is good, the food is good, right? But you can play with a delivery format, right? The other thing, um, you can play with the idea of having a story around your food. What's the background? Is it unique in some way? Is your experience unique, right? So what's it all about? What makes it exciting and interesting, right? Um, ex, oh my God, my spelling is very terrible today. Uh, Compelling. Here's that word: compelling. Interesting, right? Hey, there's many places that you and I go to eat that are actually not that good, but maybe the experience is amazing, right? Starbucks, for example. Starbucks, the coffee, to be honest with you, it's not good. It's burned, actually, right? It's burned. And but the experience of Starbucks, nobody can beat. Nobody can touch Starbucks. Nobody can touch Starbucks. It's the best business. Okay. So watch this. Uh, I'm gonna count. I'm gonna give myself 4 minutes left. Okay. And so let's go back to this 0 to 1 concept. Okay. We talk about 0 to 1. You're a street vendor. Then maybe you have a truck. Roy Choi comes to mind. Roy Choi started the whole like Korean fusion concept. Now has several restaurants in LA. Right. My brother actually DJs in one of his spots. So street vendor, and then you have a truck. Roy Choi. Then maybe you have a shared location. That's a new thing as well. You have a shared location, or you have a permanent uh, like cart. So in Portland, we had this thing when I lived in Portland. They have carts there. So these are at permanent locations. They don't move around. So these are food carts. Maybe you go from a street vendor, and once you start selling and you start building up an audience, which you can start building up an audience as long as you have an Instagram or as long as you have an email list or some way to book a meal with you. From there, once you have people's contact information, you have an audience. And then once you have, once you have returning customers, you have a following. Okay, like right then you have a following. You don't need a brick and mortar building to have a following. So street vendor, shared location, permanent cart, and maybe you stay there. Maybe you have several permanent carts. Maybe you expand to several trucks, and maybe you're just a fleet of trucks. Like my friend owns an ice cream business, and they have a fleet of ice cream trucks, right? So the truck could become a fleet, right? The cart could become multiple cart locations. This is very common in Portland, right? There's like 5 to 6 different food cart locations in the Portland metro area, and some of the carts have some of the businesses have carts in all of those areas, right? So you go through permanent cart, then maybe at the end version 5, 6, 7, 8, then you have brick and mortar, all right? But you have to start somewhere, right? So again, what are we focusing on? We're focusing on what are you making? What is this meal? What is this meal? And it can be one thing. It can literally be one thing with some like modifications to it, and then you expand from there. So your real question to go from 0 to 1 is, what is that one meal that changes somebody's life? Even if it's a hamburger, what is that hamburger that changes somebody's life and is weird or silly or fascinating enough to to get traction where people share to talk about it, right? But again, in under 10 minutes, we have now launched our restaurant business, and you can do this. You can start this tonight. And again, my offer to you is, if you're interested in digging deeper into this for yourself, that's my alarm. If you're interested in digging deeper into this with me, right? If you want a breakdown session, or if you want to do a visioning session, I'm offering visioning sessions. If you want a breakdown of that project, that thing that you want to make, that restaurant, that gym, that yoga practice, that movie, and we're going to do a movie soon, okay? And yes, you can put together a movie in 2 days. You can put together an album in 2 days, right? Kool Keith put together Dr. Octagon in like one weekend, and they recorded it in one day, right? So there are people who write all the rap, put together all the beats, and record in 2 days and make something iconic. Nobody's going to argue that Dr. Octagon is not an iconic rap album, right? All right, I'll let you guys go for now, and the link is below to book a session with me. All right, thank you and take care. Bye.